epicenter of sports and entertainment. This is the Rude Dog Show. Now, here's your host, Rudy Reyes.
Happy Monday. Is there such a thing as Happy Monday? I may have said that before, but Happy Monday only applies to those that are on the winning end of things. And of course, we're going to talk about that today here on the Rude Dog Show. I'm your host, Rudy Reyes. We are live, as a matter of fact. We're live on one platform currently, and that is YouTube. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you'll check out this show after it's done. It'll be on therudedogshow.com. I want to talk about the game yesterday, and I know everybody's talking about the game. It's the game heard around the world, can't see me. It's just, it's gotten to a point now where it's just become utterly ridiculous. I'm surprised there isn't a meme yet for this, but I wanted to open up the show with a little bit of a soundbite in regards to what Caitlin Clark had to say in a post-play, losing to LSU relatively handily, I might say. Here is what she had to say on post-game and Angela Reese and the taunting situation.
Can you tell us at the end of the game what happened? There's a lot blown up on Twitter about Angel Reese following you around, pointing to her ring finger and taunting you.
Honestly, I have no idea. I was just trying to get to the handshake line and shake hands and, be grateful that my team was in that position. That's all you can do is, hold your head high, be proud of what you did, and, all the credit in the world to LSU. They were tremendous. They deserve it. They had a tremendous season. Kim Mulkey coached them so well. She's one of the best basketball coaches of all time, and it shows. And she only said really kind things to me in the handshake line, so I'm very grateful for that too. But honestly, I have no idea, and I was just trying to, spend the last few moments on the court with, especially the 5 people that I've started 93 games with, and relishing every second of that.
Very interesting that she should say that. She said so well. And I'm not going to pick this interview part because it is what it is. The fact alone that Angela Reese did what she did shouldn't be this overdrawn out, hyperbole, whimsical nonsense as it is right now, being blown out of proportion. And it shouldn't be. How often do you see NFL players? Yes, they get flagged for, they get penalized for taunting. Major League Baseball, same thing. Think about the bat flips. How long did that take to become something that is now a penalty, or not giving you a free base, or considered a strikeout, or maybe a fine, even after the game? Sadly enough, we go on about this and pretend that it's okay. Well, okay, it is okay to taunt a player, isn't it? I mean, are you getting legitimately upset over someone taunting you? It's not as if Caitlin Clark is getting away with this in a mild-mannered way. She's done this throughout her tenure, being one of the most looked at, and of course, 1 year eligibility left in her current tenure because of the COVID year. But now she'll enter back into this Iowa Hawkeye system where there'll be some players leaving and some players that are not leaving, some players that will stay, maybe another year of eligibility for them. But this is about Caitlin Clark, and the fact alone that she can manage to get away with it without anybody really talking about it. They can say that she's done absolutely nothing wrong, and that could very well be true. Well, neither did Angela Reese. Angela Reese just said, look, put a ring on it. I'm ready. I've been there, done that. And I don't believe necessarily that this was a taunting experience. Okay, fine. And to some people's extent, it could have. Did anybody watch her eyes in regards to her hand going up and trying to point with the other one saying put a ring on it? Yeah, there was a glance at Caitlin Clark. So what? What difference does that really make? Is that going to cause the NCAA to stop taunting altogether, or could that cause some major catastrophic event to occur? I'm not going to say that this taunting situation is being kept in perspective, because it's not. People are blowing it up as if it's about color. It's about selectiveness and selective reaction, maybe an overreaction. And I would say overreaction is probably the strongest part of this puzzle. Now think about this. When you look at the Iowa Hawkeyes, this is their first time ever in a national championship game in their school's history. And I won't say that she didn't taunt anyone at South Carolina when she beat them in 40 plus points. I mean, it's not as if she's not going to be the lead runner for the 2023 Naismith National Player of the Year award, or maybe because of her dynamic play going 30-6 in the round of 16 for the third time in the past 4 NCAA tournaments. Hawkeyes playing 60 to Colorado, 27-8. I mean, it's not as if Caitlin Clark is not going to get the recognition. It's not that she doesn't deserve the recognition. The fact alone that if you're in a boxing match and Caitlin Clark is looking relatively bloodied and Angela Reese is sitting there saying, I'm ready, I got this, it's only going to take one more round. Well, that's what it was. The last round, the very final round. And Angela Reese just landed that uppercut and knocked not only Caitlin Clark out of the ring, but knocked the Iowa Hawkeyes right off the perch. That's okay. It happens. There can't be 2 winners. There can only be 1 winner and 1 loser. So this should not be about color. This should be about action. This is about response. This is about players knowing when to taunt and when not to taunt. Okay, fine. If this was a relatively blown out game, which it wasn't, this was about the effervescence of who LSU really was. And the coaching staff and their ability to get to this point should not be overlooked. It should not be underlooked. It should be looked at with a very fine-tooth comb. The coach will be in the Hall of Fame at some point, and just her second year at LSU. And you can't necessarily take this out of any type of context to say, well, this is about color and this is why. No, it's not. Let's be realistic. The fact alone that a person can be taunted, it means that anybody can be taunted. Anybody can be bullied. This wasn't a bully moment. This was, I got this. We did enough as a collective unit, and I'm ready to get crowned as a champion. Caitlin Clark can handle that. As you heard in the sound piece, it was about her getting so ready to get into the handshake line so that way she can get off the stage and go off and pout, deservedly so, with her coworkers, her co-players, the ones that she sweats with, the ones that she plays against during practice, the ones that she fights tooth and nail with, and at times, maybe not such a coach's favorite as well. I'm not going to sit here and say that Caitlin is nothing short of stellar as a player. Sure, she absolutely is. There's no question that she's the leader of this Iowa Hawkeye team. That should not be overlooked either. But she's an example to which taunting is not one of them. The old adage goes is if you can give it, you should take it. And Caitlin Clark took it well, and she took it on the chin. And her statement in the postgame, you heard it, was just right on cue, which was, this is where we're at. This is what happened. I recognize that we were outplayed, we were outmatched, we were out-hustled, and we were outshot. There are times in the game where you're wondering if Iowa even had a chance. They did at times appear as though they can get right back in the game, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. LSU just did way too much, too often, too frequently, fast break opportunities when Iowa missed on the other end. Caitlin Clark will come back. Make no mistake about that. Will Iowa be able to make a run? That also remains to be seen. I think the taunting incident is very ill-fated because when you look at Clark's historical wins along the way headed to the national championship, she just missed one particular player and seemingly denied the acknowledgement of others. With hand gestures to find this to be, and what I consider this, a double standard. But yet it's news when Angela Reese does it for whatever reason, and you can take color out of it. Doesn't matter if Angela Reese was purple, yellow, green, or blue. But she did the very same thing. And now everybody wants to talk about it as if Angela is a criminal. What if the shoe was on the foot? Let's put the role reversal. Let's think about Caitlin Clark being the one to actually win this, to blow out LSU. Do you not believe she would do the very same thing? I guarantee you she would. Guarantee that she would. Clark could possibly have not, and clearly not beat out LSU single-handedly. She needed her friends, she needed her coworkers, she needed the rest of her team to show up when they needed to. Unfortunately, they just did not have enough. And you can't multiply Caitlin Clark's, you can't multiply Cezino's, you can't multiply those players that were in double and triple digits throughout the regular season or even through this tourney, for that matter. Look, both aspects are true. You can't simply say that neither are blameless, but what blame does one put when every single sport that's been played, there's been taunting, as I said from the onset of the show. And again, this is not color-based. This is action-based. This is reaction-based. Yet some media outlets want to talk about it and say this is about color. I'm a man of color myself. Don't think for 1 minute that I'm going to be on the floor and I'm going to take this lying down, because I won't. Someone's going to go and talk smack to my face and I'm just supposed to let it go. I'll let some of it go for the most part. Putting the ring on it and everything therein, sure, I'll let that go. But when you get in my face personally and start jibber jabbering to me, I won't take it. I'll give it right back to you. Will I get kicked out first? I don't know. Hopefully I'll never be in that situation to find out if I will or won't be. There'll be some trash talk, that I can guarantee you. Now, when you look at some of the things that have gone on in this tourney, it doesn't really surprise me at all that we're talking about, and when I say we, I mean it's a collective broadcast media group, and you know who you are, that are out there that are discussing this, that are talking about this, and get this down to a point where this is where we're at. There have been some questionable fouls. Javen Nicholson charged with an intentional foul on Caitlin Clark. Okay, fine. That was not necessarily an intentional foul and didn't push her to the ground. Caitlin Clark lost her footing. And she was also fighting back with her left arm, which could have forced her to become off balance, yet slide on the ground. But Javen Nicholson is charged with that. Who started it? It doesn't matter. The fact is that when you look at that particular play, it just goes to show that things aren't always what they seem. During South Carolina's beatdown, Caitlin Clark waved off an LSU offensive player, saying, don't worry about her, forget it. Nonchalant manner, she's not going to get it done. She's not going to pass it to anyone. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But again, it's about reaction. So the action was her hands going down, saying, forget about her. But then there's a reaction to say, oh my gosh, Caitlin Clark, what are you doing? No, there wasn't any of that. But yet it comes to a national championship game, which, by the way, for all that's fair and equal, had 9 million people watching. That stands to reason that everybody who is either a part of social media or upset about what Angela Reese did, this is nothing. This is absolutely and means to an end. Of course, the end for Iowa is certainly upon everyone. Now that we're in the NCAA women's basketball offseason, LSU will get their rings, they'll get their pendants or whatever they choose to have, as well as the coaches. Hats off to LSU. Hats off to Iowa. They both fought courageously. They fought to the absolute end. So, again, this is not about color. The head coach for LSU is white. The head coach for Iowa is white. Most of the players on the Iowa team were white. But yet, I would say, 4 players on the LSU sideline were also white as a part of that collective unit. So you can't tell me this is about color, because it isn't. This is about action and reaction. And in broadcast media, this is called overreaction. This is called Manic Monday, or reaching into your bag of tricks. This isn't a hot take. There's nothing hot about this. This is cold and left out in the Antarctic as a frozen nothing sickle when it's all said and done. This is Rudy Reyes on the Rude Dog Show. There's way too little to worry about in this game when you have to plan sequentially for a new season, especially as a coach, because you can't allow what happened in the past to affect the future. What you need to do is understand that you have to respect what happened, understand what happened, and create a plan surrounding how not to find yourself in that situation ever again. There's some coaching up involved in that, and other players that were on the floor yesterday for Iowa, as well as players that will need to do much better in regards to being the Caitlin Clark, if you will, type of player, the willing passer, the willing rebounder, the willing shooter, the one who can hit from three, beyond three, half court three. There are so many aspects to this game that other players on that roster are going to have to figure it out. They can learn from what Caitlin Clark did, but learn from what Caitlin Clark did not do or what she should have done. I think no one is more reflectant than her when she looks back at this, when she looks back at the game, when she looks back at the tournament, when she looks back at her career. 2024, you're going to see Caitlin Clark go to the WNBA draft. And that's the bottom line. Angela Reese and company, some will have 1 year of eligibility, others will come back. And could there be some animosity rolling over into the WNBA when these women get drafted by a WNBA team? Absolutely. And there should be. But what there shouldn't be is ill feelings because someone says put a ring on it, regardless of what color they are. It could have been a purple elephant walking across the floor doing the very same thing. Could have been Caitlin, could have been Angela, could have been anyone. It doesn't matter. The fact is that when you put a ring on something, you're doing one of two things. Either it's a championship ring or it's a wedding ring or an engagement ring. I can't think of any other reason why you would even make that notion or make those hand gestures for that matter. So Caitlin Clark will grow up. She will recognize that if she hasn't forgotten about it already, this whole incident occurred because of her inability to take it as well as, dish it out. I look back at this game and I'll think to myself, this was one heck of a basketball game. This is one great women's basketball tourney that I haven't seen in a very, very long time. And I like where these programs are going. I love where Iowa's trending into. Caitlin Clark is going to continue to be a star on that roster for her last year of eligibility. And you're going to see some changes. You'll see some changes in starters. And again, this is a learning experience for everyone, the winners as well as the losers. Unfortunately, neither one of these teams can both be the winners, and neither one of them can both be the losers. This is Rudy Reyes on the RudeDogShow.com. Throw me a follow. Follow me on YouTube. Throw me a follow on Twitter at RudeDogReyes. Go to the RudeDogShow.com where this show will be posted. Make sure you check it out. Subscribe to my channel and check it out. Like it, love it, share it. That's just what I enjoy the most. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Everybody have a great evening. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.